Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I'm trying a new editing software, and we will see how it goes. This one is actually on the iPad, which I thought as we get back into more of a normal posting schedule for me, which will be kind of around school and work, and I'm already going to be uploading streams and videos not as often as before because if I'm using all my free time to play the game, I probably won't have that much time to edit the videos. So if I'm not live streaming, there will probably still be one video a week that's Death Stranding related, but on top of that, I have a lot of artworks that I've created that are inspired by Death Stranding or are just me kind of messing around. As you guys know, I teach art and I'm really excited about the job, and it's the other hobby I have besides video games. And so I kind of wanted to draw something for Death Stranding and two of the characters that I like the most that have the most toxic and crazy relationship, which hopefully we will find out more about in Death Stranding 2. But it's Higgs and Fragile. Now, if you don't want any spoilers for Death Stranding 1 or anything like that, or if you haven't watched any trailers and you won't be able to play the game for a while, then feel free to avoid the video. Other than the fact that these are just two characters that you might not know, then that's like really the only spoilers. So, this is Fragile and Higgs. Originally, I wanted it to actually be Higgs, and I had really considered painting in his hair and giving him his actual features. And somewhere along the way, I got the funny idea to just draw his mask. One of the things I love about his character that isn't confirmed as of the recording of this video, but seems likely based on the trailers, is the fact that he has, well, hello, my little kitty cat. Have you heard the bells in the background? Butters has paid us a visit. But if you've been watching some of the trailers and maybe if you've played the game, you'll notice that his eyes move and or his expression changes on this mask even whenever you can't see his face. And so I'm really hopeful that he will have a personality in his mask, or that the mask will be connected to his own emotions somehow, similar to the Odra deck and how sometimes it'll give you a thumbs up, things like that. And it made me think it would be really cutesy and funny if the mask was able to either relay information, like it could spy if it's stuck somewhere and left behind, or actually literally relay sensory information. So we know that he's able to kind of control the robots in the trailers, and I thought, what if his mask, if it was touched or whatever, because it seems like he can sense or see through it somehow. It would just be funny if someone like slapped it or kissed it or whatever, if he could feel that even if he wasn't wearing it. And then I had the funny thought of like, what if Sam just comes in and starts like slapping the mask just to like be stupid, and then you have Higgs somewhere just being like, ow. And then of course, because I absolutely adore Fragile, and in the books her and Higgs had more of a romantic relationship than kind of what the game really gave away in Death Stranding 1. And I've just always thought, man, I hope that they end up reconciling somehow. Even though I don't mind her with Sam either, I think good for Fragile. I hope she gets whoever she wants. But I thought the idea of kind of almost a classical kissing, like a statue, that's a very popular aesthetic thing that you'll see on Pinterest. And it just kind of gave me that vibe when I thought of her in the mask. Now, you've obviously seen me struggle through this painting, and it's always funny to go back and see how things looked, because truly it was not as bad as I thought it was. There were a lot of times that I could have left her face the way it was, and it really wasn't that bad. But while I was looking at it and, so focused and so in the moment, and hadn't walked away from it, I hated it. I thought it looked terrible. And the mask looked so good with so few strokes. It was drawn so quickly. and just really had like a form to it, and I really enjoyed the brushes I was using, and I was desperate to get that same vibe with Fragile's portrait, and it took me a while to find it. Now, in the end, I'm so happy with it. I think it has just a really good mix of cartooniness and realism. You can tell what it's supposed to be. You can see the features. And something that it made me realize about the motion capture, I guess you would say, like, the way that it's done. I've noticed how it does have like the uncanny valley effect. I absolutely love the way everybody looks in Death Stranding, but if you put them next to their actor, there's something odd about it. I first noticed it with Troy Baker's face, well, of course, in Death Stranding 1, because he didn't have eyebrows. And that was really weird and really threw me off. But once I kind of realized it was just the lack of eyebrows that were throwing off my recognition, that was fine. But in the second game, he does have a little bit of eyebrows, and he has the face makeup, and he really looks different to me. His face looks a little rounder, his nose a little sharper than he does in real life. And in regards to Fragile, Leia Sadu looks very different than Fragile does in the game. Leia has these beautiful dark eyebrows in real life. She has, longer hair, which I don't think really makes a difference, but it's more lightly colored, I feel like, than Fragile's. And there is something with her lips that is different, because a lot of times what I'll do is I will work from an actual photo of an actor, actress, or in this case, the motion capture model to get a likeness. But I've realized with Death Stranding it's really difficult because the motion capture models don't have enough detail to give you kind of the artistic rendering that you want. But if you're trying to use the actor's likeness, those photos don't really look like the video game characters. And that is a really weird, like, bridge or gap between the motion capturing and the real photography of the person that I don't think I ever really noticed before. And I've been trying to acknowledge that more as I draw and realize that it can either look like the video game person and not be as highly rendered and be more like these, more of a simple stylized version, and still look like them and still have a lot of vibrancy and have the likeness, or it can be a very real, detailed and rendered painting, but maybe not really look like the video game characters. So I guess that is just a long way to say that I think that's why I struggled so much with her face. It was hard to stylize Fragile whenever I had two different kind of ideas of her. I had her actress's face that I was trying to draw from, and then I also had kind of the trailer clips. And the more I look at them, the more I realize that I think it might be her jaw is a little bit different than her real life face structure. So Fragile in the motion capture model has a very strong jaw, almost like masculine, and not in a negative way, but it's very, very square. And when you look at her actress, she actually has a pretty, like, soft jawline. She obviously does have a strong jaw, and that's part of what makes her so striking. But she also has, like, a rounded shape. She's not all bone. Like, she's very voluptuous in the way that her face and her cheeks are. But that does not come through on the model. And I think this part shows most of what I was struggling with. It was like me just flipping back and forth between the model and the actress's face. But eventually, I was able to come to like a middle ground, and then it was magic. At this point, I was like, oh, I got it. And after adding in just a little bit more color, it was done. So thank you for watching, and I hope you will join me in the next video. Bye!